Today I'm gonna help you make your character stronger by loading up on expertise. And the perfect expertise level? Well, it's not what you think.
And if you don't know, now you know.
So what is the perfect expertise level? So let me make the case. The perfect expertise level is level 12. So adding 12 levels of expertise on a weapon is 12% weapon damage, almost equal to a full red weapon damage core, which is 15%. The reason why this is the perfect expertise is because one, it's really easy to get to expertise level 12, even for new players. You should probably be there by the time you're around watch level 1000 or shortly after. And number two, it doesn't cost any real rare resources. They're all basic resources you can farm on the regular and farm them quickly. So as soon as you go over level expertise 12, you're now breaking into your exotic materials. So this is what I mean. As you can see, it's going to use very basic materials to get that first level. So let's go ahead and consume those. Basically the same on the next level, just a little higher quantity. More of the same for level 3. More of the same for level 4. Level 5 is the same. So now that I've reached level 7, it's asking for field recon data, which is more rare, but not very. And I can ride this all the way to level 12. So it spreads out the demand on the resources. And then I'll stop there. If I try to go to level 13, it's asking for 1 SHD resource, which is more rare, but either way, it's asking for that exotic component. So I hold there. 12 is a great increase in damage. It's easy for new players to reach expertise level 12, and it's not a major burden on resources to load up on a weapon.
So confused. What is the expertise system?
Okay, before we get too far into this, you need to know what the expertise system actually is. So the expertise system was introduced into the game to allow agents to go beyond standard levels of power.
That doesn't sound right. The expertise system was added so that we have more to grind for.
And you can apply expertise to things like your weapons, skills, even specialization weapons, as well as each piece of gear you can equip on your character. However, this system has been notoriously expensive, and for new and returning players, it can be quite overwhelming when you look at the hill you have to climb to catch up to where more experienced players are with their expertise. So you can access your expertise system by going into your inventory menu and then tinkering and then expertise. You can see at the top left, that's your expertise level, and then it shows how many items are proficient. And that's really it. That's really what you're looking for. The expertise system is broken into those two major components. Proficiency doesn't give you any power. You're either proficient or you're not, but there are levels of proficiency. So all these things I'm proficient in. You get that little badge when you're proficient. There's 10 levels of proficiency, but it doesn't really matter your level of proficiency. It's just whether you're proficient or not. However, there's that progress bar. The goal is to get everything possible proficient, including specialization weapons. And the more items you get proficient, then the higher your expertise level is going to be. So that's how you raise your expertise level. It's the only way you can raise your expertise level, by becoming proficient in as many items as possible. I am proficient in 386 out of 386. I am max proficient, so my expertise level is capped, which currently is 25. The expertise level cap is going to change every season as they introduce new gear, because you're going to have more items you need to be proficient in.
Wait, did he just say the system never ends?
So when an item's proficient, it can now be loaded with expertise up to the expertise level that you have. So for me, if it's proficient, I can load it up to level 25 at a max. So gear items will get 1% of base armor for each level of expertise. Weapons will get 1% of base damage, and skills is a variable based on what the skill is. So you're just gonna have to look to see what the skill will get. Some things will get skill haste, some things will get skill damage, some things will get duration. So those are your benefits. So most people prioritize their favorite weapons, the specialization weapons that they actually use. For me, that's attack 50 and a flamethrower. And then from there, their skills, especially the ones that deal damage. But you're gonna have a choke point, and that's always gonna be resources. This thing is very resource demanding.
I know you just explained it all, but I'm still so confused.
In the beginning, this system can be very confusing to understand. So allow me to distill everything I just ran through down to the very, very basics. Expertise is a way to directly boost one stat on an individual item. Step 1, you get the item proficient. Step 2, you upgrade its expertise level to your current cap. Step 3, get all items proficient to reach the maximum expertise level. And that's basically it. That's the expertise system simplified.
I said I was confused, not stupid.
So there's multiple ways to become proficient in any particular item. It's all the same. So one is just by using that item. As you use it, you gain proficiency levels until it eventually reaches its cap, which is level 10. The other way you can do it is by researching. You can actually donate resources, any resource really, to buy your proficiency. And then the third way is through donation. So by donating the same item, so for example, the ACR, by donating a bunch of ACRs, I can get to max proficiency on that ACR, or a combination of any of those methods. The black market AKM, and there's multiple AKs, as you can see. So if I donate AKMs, whatever level, doesn't matter, junk AKMs that you get from proficiency caches or from drops in the open world, then it's only gonna go to that AKM. It's not gonna go to the black market AKM because that's considered a different item. You have to become proficient in each of these separately. So becoming proficient in the AKM is not gonna make me proficient in the black market AKM. Same thing here. So this is the same weapon, but it's two variants. So becoming proficient in the ACR is not going to make you proficient in the ACRE. You have to become proficient in each of these separately. But if you're a newer returning player, then this is what you need to know. Do not research into your proficiency level. Then the two methods you're going to be using is equipping the items and by donating items. Now, equipping items is definitely one way to do it, but it's not going to be the fastest way because you have so much gear and only so much time, and you're not going to go around using every weapon possible in this game just to get proficient at it. It's just not logical. So that being said, the major way to earning proficiency is going to be donating junk, which is actually really good news. And let me tell you why. The player base found that to get to around level 13, 14, 15 is actually really easy. And the reason why it's fast and easy to get to level 15 is because the mere quantity of things that you're able to donate into. So if you want to get to the first 15 levels fast, basically you want to donate all of your junk into your expertise system. And you want to be doing this on the regular, pretty much daily. Whatever junk you have, just donate into your expertise system by using that donate all junk button here at the bottom. So they make it really fast and easy. You don't have to go anywhere to do it. You can do it at any time. So instead of just deleting things, donate them. And because you don't have very many items proficient yet, basically all your junk is going to be going towards increasing your proficiency, thus your expertise level. You'll notice that gear sets and brand sets will be the first thing to level up, and there's a lot of them, as you can see. That's a lot. So start there, get those all proficient, which will happen in no time. And once you do that, you'll find yourself getting to the perfect expertise level. You should also note that named items and exotics are all separate when it comes to proficiency. So the Catharsis, for example, you have to earn proficiency all on its own. And the Chill Out, even though it's a Gila brand, it's a named Gila brand, making it a special case in which you have to earn proficiency on it, not just Gila. Otherwise, when you go down to the brand set, when you get proficient in Gila, it's going to cross over to all Gila gear that's not named. Gloves, backpacks, chest piece, knees, holster, and mask.
Okay, let me see if I got this right. So even if it's the same brand, if it's a named item, I have to increase its proficiency separate than the rest of the brand? Can we make this more confusing?
If you are new in the game, I gotta tell you, expertise is really the last thing you should be worried about. It is. So I need to emphasize the priority of things to make sure you don't waste resources. So first, you want to get your gear or your build assembled. Second, you want to recalibrate all your stats so that they are what they need to be. Third, you then optimize your gear so that all the stats are maxed out on that build. Get your watch to level 1000, and only then do I suggest you start adding expertise. But only add expertise to your weapons and your skills if they're damage skills. And if you're actually using your specialization weapon, then I definitely recommend you do that. Again, the TAC 50 is a great one to load expertise into.
Wow. This is going to be stupid easy because there's only one build you need in the Division 2, and it's an all-red striker build. Psh.
But I have to warn you, if you're new in the game and start working in expertise too early, you're gonna strain your resources to the point where you won't be able to recalibrate gear or even optimize it. And those things are more important than expertise at this stage. But here's the good news, and what we're really gonna be focusing on today is that you can be making progress, really good progress on your expertise to level it up so that when you are ready to start loading up that expertise on your favorite primary weapons and specialization weapons and skills, you're gonna have the perfect level of expertise to be able to do that. Okay, so once you reach watch level 1000, and once you have all your key builds locked in, now it's time to start focusing on your expertise. If you still haven't done those two things, then I suggest you watch these videos before you start spending resources on expertise.
Links down below.
So how do you load up on tons of gear to donate into the expertise system? I got that answer for you. And the game mode is called Countdown.
I feel like anytime somebody has a question about the Division 2, the answer ends up being Countdown.
Yep, it's basically the answer for everything related to gear. So one 20-minute run in this 8-man group mode is gonna net you about 50 items. What's really cool is that you can set your targeted loot. It's gonna dish out that stuff, including tons of named items, which you also need for your expertise system. Obviously keep the keepers, but anything that's junk, donate it. Also, by playing the Countdown game mode, you're going to be getting Countdown credits when you successfully extract. So most people spend their Countdown credits on the exotic caches, and I suggest you do that too. But if you get an exotic that you don't need or want, do not donate it into your expertise system. Crush it for the exotic component. The way you're going to level up your exotics is going to be by either using your exotics to become proficient in them or by investing materials to research your way up to proficiency. Otherwise, you're going to be saving those exotic components for those very special weapons that you want to take up to max expertise, which currently is level 25. And truthfully, those items should be far and few in between. So very recently, I created a whole video on resources. It breaks them down on which ones are rare, which ones aren't, and how to get them. So be sure to watch that video for more in-depth tutorials on resources. So here's the new numbers for expertise costs. And these changes were implemented in Season 3, Year 5, 2024 as part of Project Resolve. In the first 10 levels, you're going to be spending very common resources. So between level 6 and 24, you're going to start spending field recon data. You get field recon data for completing control points. And the good news is that the majority of the player base is spending their time clearing those control points on a regular basis. You also get field recon data from optimization caches that you're getting awarded from season reward tracks anyways. You can purchase these using your watch points too. And then the same with SHD recalibrations. They're a little bit more rare. You definitely don't get the quantity that you do from field recon data, but you can also get these from optimization caches as well as using your watch. The rarest material of all has got to be the exotic material. You only get exotic components through special projects that are daily and weekly, as well as by deconstructing exotics, unwanted exotics. It's the volume in which you need or the demand on those exotic materials that makes them rare. It's going to take around 42 exotic components to take a single item to max expertise.
Holy hell, what a ripoff. Instead of wasting time, why don't I just give you half of my exotic components? You take me out back and kick me into nuts.
And that there is the ultimate choke point on the expertise system. So increase every weapon that you use on the regular to level 12. So I understand as a new player, you probably don't know which weapons are going to be great to roll expertise on in the long run. Well, a lot of this is subjective, but some of it isn't. Some of these weapons are long time proven in the community as some of the best and go-to. So what I'm going to do here is give you a list of weapons, exotic, named, and standard high-end weapons you might want to consider adding at least 12 levels of expertise on when you're ready to do so. This by no means is intended to be an exhaustive list. As far as pistols go, the D50 is highly recommended. It's the strongest pistol in the game, and this is one that I intend to max out to 25. The Regulus, if you get this, is the strongest exotic pistol in the game. The TDI card is also a really good pistol to add expertise to. It's pretty popular. For primary weapons, the Dread Edict is strong, really strong as it is. It has some really cool things happening with the talent. It's a great one to add expertise to. The Mantis is an amazing sniper, arguably the best sniper in the game. It has unlimited decoys. It's an exotic. And then we also have the Nemesis, which is the strongest sniper in the game. The Capacitor, which is highly used on just about every skill build, and it's also extremely powerful. It's the only assault rifle with 12% damage to armor. And the St. Elmo's is what I think the best assault rifle in the game, not purely from a DPS standpoint, but for all that it brings to the table. This is one you must have as a new player. The Ouroboros, if you get this, which isn't too hard to get, you get this one from the Incursion. This thing is a beast. It's an absolute beast. I got 20 levels on mine. The Iron Lung is an amazing LMG. Use it before you decide to add expertise on it, but for me, it's my favorite LMG at the moment. The Pestilence is a classic. Definitely recommend adding expertise to that one. The Scorpio is one of the strongest exotics. It's highly recommended on a lot of builds. And for new players, this is definitely a must-have.
How is the Ravenous not on this list? It's like the best exotic in the game.
You want to go to high-end sniper rifle, take your pick, but for me, my favorite is the SRS. I got lots of favorites though. An alternate to this, but basically the same thing, is the SR1 or the M700, any of them really. And then the Model 700 is the strongest non-exotic sniper in the game, and I really like this one. That gave me enough reasons to add expertise to it. I like adding expertise to the strongest variants, and the Kingbreaker is no joke. I have 16% expertise on this one. The mechanical animal has risen to a very popular weapon thanks to Project Resolve and the rebalancing of it. They enhanced the talent. I don't have expertise on mine, but I plan on doing that ASAP. The test subject also is a very good assault rifle for skill builds or hybrids. It's an alternate to the capacitor. The Dark Winter is an amazing SMG, and it can stand on its own against the Ouroboros. I definitely recommend you add expertise to this. I plan on doing it myself. The Tactical Vector is an amazing DPS SMG also. If you don't have the Ouroboros, this is a great alternate. I recommend expertise on this. I'll be adding it on mine. The Apartment as well, which is a named SMG. It's technically a Dark Zone exclusive. You can get it from named item caches, as perfectly measured. The new Reliable is a really cool, very strong RPK LMG. You have the Culibre or any M870 shotgun of your choice. This is the strongest shotgun variant in the game. Really good for shotgun one-tap builds. The Rock and Roll is used to stack quickly on builds like Heartbreaker and Striker, so it's good to have expertise just for good measure. The 1886 is the strongest rifle in the game. It basically acts like a sniper, but it's a rifle, so that makes it amazing all on its own. Definitely worth loading the heck out of this one with expertise. And the Classic M1A being the best DPS rifle in the game, along with its variant, the CQB. Both of these are worth your time and expertise. There's also the exotic version, the Dr. Home. Okay, next up, specialization weapons. I recommend the TAC 50 rifle and the flamethrower. These are used the most, but by no means skip out on the rest. It's all based on what type of content you play. For skills, you're gonna want to do the assault turret and the attack drone as a priority, because those are arguably the most used damage skills in the game. Go to expertise and then drop down to our skills. Let's take a look at the chem launcher. The fire starter is going to give us damage. The oxidizer is also going to give us damage, so that's great. The demolisher is also giving us damage. The burster is also giving us damage, so those are two you want to add. The shrapnel trap is also giving us damage. The decoy is not a damage one, but I do recommend you add expertise into this. That's going to give you an increased threat level. The sticky bomb, so you got burn damage, damage on the explosive one. The Stinger Hive will also give you damage. The Bombardier will give you blast damage if you use that. And all the damage seeker mines give you damage as a stat.
Okay, Tux, I get it. So level 12 expertise is perfect because it doesn't cost me any rare resources. That means I can get many of my favorite weapons to at least that level without breaking my bank. But once I get past expertise level 13, when is it a good time to start spending my exotic components?
That's a really good question. And the reason why is because there's levels of priority, and there's one more you now need to consider. You got your watch. You leveled to 1000. You got your key builds and plays. You recalibrated them. You optimized them. And you got all of your primary weapons and skills to expertise level 12. You're there. But before you start investing your exotic components into expertise, I suggest that all of your exotics, or at least the ones that are really important to you, have the correct secondary attribute rolled onto them. We're now able to recalibrate our exotic weapons so we can change an attribute on it from like damage to armor to damage to targets out of cover or whatever you want there in that slot. But in order to do that, you have to go to the crafting bench, and it's gonna use those exotic materials every time you spin the wheel. Once you do that, then start investing your exotic components into higher expertise levels on whatever weapons and skills. So the reason why I'm saying that is because it's more important that said weapon, said exotic, has damage to armor or damage to targets out of cover or whatever you're going to put on it than it is to increase the expertise level, because they're requiring the same resources, exotic components, but the impact is greater by putting on a multiplier like damage to armor or damage to targets out of cover than just 1% expertise level, which is just base damage. So I'll say it this way: once everything is expertise level 12 that you want to be expertise level 12, then make sure all your key exotics have the correct attribute. And these are exotics that you're actually using, not your junk exotics, not the ones that sit in the stash and collect dust. And once those have the correct attributes, now spend your exotic components on your expertise. Let me just break it to you like for real here. So I've done a lot of testing on expertise in game, not just on paper. So obviously more damage is more damage, right? We can agree with that. It's great. We'll take it. It's free, sort of. But how does this expertise change the performance or the outcome of your gameplay? I gotta tell you, not very much. It doesn't have the biggest impact. I did a full-on study here with and without expertise in Legendary, and I came out the exact same with 20 levels of expertise and 0 levels of expertise. It's 20% more base damage. It tied with 0 expertise.
No way! How could that possibly be the case?
This is the time to kill with the expertise level 20. This is the time to kill with no expertise. Here they are both side by side. Slow it down. Slower. Slower. There. That's the improvement to time to kill. 20 levels of expertise on this weapon brings to the build. A difference in time so small, it falls between the cracks of a single recorded frame. And so, although my level 20 expertise was stronger than my level 0 expertise, 20% weapon damage is just not enough to impact my performance. Maybe in a situation or two, but overall, over the course of a mission, it leveled out.
Next time it'd be nice if you started with that point. That way I could have clicked off this video and gone back to picking my nose.
So if I can't detect the difference in power in my endgame stats or during gameplay with a 20-point spread in expertise, it's going to be even more difficult to detect the difference in power between 12 and 13 points of expertise difference. You know, like the difference between 12 and 25% expertise, or even 0 and 12% expertise. And so I'm telling you this because there's really no hurry to get max expertise. But if you try to grind to max expertise 25, believe me, it is the grind of the game. And then once you get there, you'll find you don't have enough resources to get very many of your weapons to max expertise, even if you wanted to. It's a system that's not intended to max boost everything in the game for you. If it's not the exotic components you run out of first, it's gonna be something else. It's gonna be one of these rare resources. But for us players that have mules and have big watches, then it is still manageable. But even then, even though we can, not many people find it worth the effort. That being said, yeah, I absolutely recommend you level up your weapons to max expertise. It's there. It's a system in the game. We want to use it. Listen up. You're going to want to know this. The most efficient way to increase your proficiency in the fewest steps possible is by purchasing printer filament with your watch and donating printer filament into the proficiency system. This is extremely fast, and having multiple characters and a sizable watch allows you to whip through this process completely in very little time. So to do this, you're gonna wanna create those additional characters, which we call mules. And then you wanna consistently do XP farming with your primary character so that they all level up their watches at the same time. Passive income. So I'm showing you this now so that you can prepare for what's next. The next stages of your expertise. This way doesn't really work for new players because your watch doesn't have enough scavenging points to purchase those printer filaments.
You're such a big tease.
And even if you create multiple characters early, you still haven't amassed enough resources across those characters to be able to combine the watches for printer filament. But by the time you get to expertise level 15, hopefully you have, and you're now able to utilize this way of gaining proficiency, which is faster. And after expertise 15, donating becomes more difficult because a lot of the easy things to donate, like brand and gear sets, have been completed and are fully proficient, which leaves you with the random or more rare things, the things that you don't wear or don't get to drop for you as often. That's what's left for you to increase your proficiency on, including some of those exotics locked behind raids. Whether you have it or not, you still need to be proficient in it. And if you don't have the item, then the only way to get proficient in it is to research it.
So nice. Just one last FU before the video ends.
Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido. That's Tito Bandido.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
And this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.